Hi there, my name is Maylin and welcome back to my channel. I am a flute teacher and performer located in the city of Toronto, Canada, and this is my series where we learn how to play the flute from the very beginning. If you weren't able to check out my last video, please be sure to look at the link in the description below. It goes over how to play your very first sound with your head joint. Today we're going to be doing part 3 in the series, which is how to put your flute together. So thank you so much for joining me here today, and if you do have any questions or anything, please be sure to drop them in the comment section below. And besides that, let's just get started. So if we are looking at the flute, you notice that they are 3 different pieces, as I went over in my very first video. So this is how I generally put my instrument together. If you have any trouble or if you feel like you're a little bit scared of it, that's okay. It's gonna take a few times and repetition to get comfortable with it. But let's just get started with how I do it. So let's start off with the body joint. So this is the biggest part of the 3 pieces. And ideally you don't want to be handling it too much by the keys. You don't want to be grabbing it or holding it very, very firmly because the pads underneath are very sensitive. So if you want to take a look at the bottom of the keys, you can see these little yellow things. These are the pads, and the pads are covered with a protective plastic film. So if you are handling it really, really roughly, you'll actually end up tearing that film, which is bad for the pads. The pads are not waterproof, hence the film. So when we're playing the instrument, the pads seal the air as you press down the keys, right? So if you accidentally tear that film, the possibility of water getting into there and molding is very, very high. So you be very, very careful, but if you do need to hold onto the keys a little bit at the beginning, that's okay. Just be sure to be careful with them and not be very aggressive. So when you're holding the flute, I usually hold it by the neck here. So I find that in my left hand, this is where I have the most control. The next piece I'm going to grab is the foot joint. So this is the smaller part. And what you're going to do is also grab it by the end here. So you should have enough space to kind of hold them both in your hands like you're holding maybe drumsticks or utensil. But be very careful, make sure you're very firm with them. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the foot joint to the body joint. Make sure it's at the end. So this is where the neck is on your left. And what you're going to do is you're actually just going to screw it right on. For some instruments it can be very, very stiff, so if you do have any issues with putting on the foot joint, what you can do is very, very slowly and gently rock the end of the piece back and forth until you can get it all the way firmly into place on the body joint. If you do have any issues, if you find it extremely, extremely tight, what you can do is that you can actually take a pencil and just color lightly on the body joint here, just to kind of help loosen it up. But otherwise it should be all right. Make sure it's all the way in, and what you're going to do is line up the spine of the foot joint, so that would be this rod here, with the center of the keys, just like this. Perfect. So now that you have that on, and make sure that the foot joint is pushed all the way in, you can put on the head joint. So again, I'm still holding the neck of the flute in my left hand. So you're going to take the head joint in your right hand, holding it very firmly again. You're going to do the same thing, but putting it onto the neck joint. Now, you're going to push the head joint all the way in. Now, some flutes will actually have an arrow. So you can see on my flute that I have an arrow, and it is meant to line up with the Yamaha emblem on the actual head joint itself. So you can definitely use that as a guidance. If not, if you don't have anything on the flute to help guide where you need to align the head joint with the body, all you need to do is line up the embouchure hole, so this hole here, with the rest of the keys. Perfect. So when you actually have it, it should look something like this. If you look down, you should be able to see it all the way lined up. And if you do, Now you've put your flute together. Perfect. Now you're ready to play. Thank you for joining me with this very quick little tutorial here. In part 4, we'll be learning how to play our very first notes. So be sure to join me there. Again, if you missed my last video, be sure to check it in the description. And if you do have any questions or to book your own lesson, please be sure to look me up on www.maylinjenkins.com. Thank you so much and happy fluting!